Hey, reality designers, welcome to Hypnosis by Design, where we take the power of hypnosis and the wonderful transformations of human design and put them together to decondition the not self. And today I want to talk to manifestors and maybe those who have manifestors in their lives. I want to talk about this concept of informing. They say that informing is the manifestor's key to peace and impact. So I do see a lot of information out there informing about what informing is and what manifestors should and shouldn't do. So I want to talk about this from my perspective. And I would love to hear from you, but how this concept of informing distinguishes manifestors from other human design types. So, and why it's crucial for manifestors to embrace this strategy, but not just take anybody's words or directions about this strategy. What I'd love to talk about is how you move from this strategy and get into detail because informing is a core concept in human design, particularly for manifestors. But if you're any of the energy types, you can definitely listen in. There's so many benefits to informing because other energy types who are designed to respond to life, manifestors are designed to initiate action, making informing a unique strategy so that we navigate the world while interacting with others because our energy can kind of step on people's toes. Fear of projection is real. I've worked with manifestors who have this real fear of people projecting onto them. And Ra, the I guess creator or the one who made this information available. His name is Ra. He is also a manifester, but he consistently emphasized that informing is the key strategy for manifestors to live in accordance with their true nature. So this allows us to act from our own authority. And so my authority is emotional. I have the emotional authority. And rather than being controlled or conditioned by others, and I have been conditioned and I'm working on that conditioning, I'm a recovering people pleaser. And let me know in the comments, if you are too, and what your energy type is, because people pleasing affects us all, no matter what your energy type is. But what happens is we act from our own authority. And rather than being controlled or conditioned by others, and it helps us manage the impact of our energy on others. So this leads to more harmonious relationships for sure, because our energy can create a ripple in the field. This is the unseen metaphysical space that we're all connected to. So manifestors are designed to act independently. And if we're not, and we could to other energy types, we could seem intimidating, overbearing, or completely opposite, withdrawn, not interested, those kind of things. When inside, or even angry, how many have been accused of being angry and you're just like, what? I'm just here. So we want to make sure that we're informing our environment that our energy comes into. And we are designed to act independently. I have been independent my whole life. I told the story of when I got my own library card, right? Very independent at 7 years old. But our nature compels us to initiate and act independently. And sometimes, we don't tell anybody. We just don't tell anybody what we're doing. We're following our own path, but not to wait for cues or guidance from others. So sometimes those cues or guidance from others can initiate this underlying anger, right? And it might not, you might not even feel so angry, but it'll be felt in your energy field for sure. So we want to minimize this potential. And at the same time, informing allows us to honor this independence, this natural inner nature, while minimizing, um, you know, potential resistance. And that's really what's happening when people don't know and they're unsure of your energy. They in themselves will start to feel this resistance. And this is they call it a closed and repelling aura. I personally see it as the more open I feel, I can fill the room with my energy. So people feel that energy even before I enter the room. Sometimes my energy is in the room before I'm even there. So this to other people can feel closed or repelling. It can also magnetize certain people. But for a lot of people, this closed and repelling feel in our aura makes others feel like an instinctive uneasiness. There's this inner mm, something, and there may suddenly come up a need to control that person. So they'll come right up to you and start trying to condition you. If you've experienced this, let me know. This often leads to like a cycle of resistance and anger. And informing, let them know, hey, I'm here for this. Can you direct me to this place? What this informing does, because asking questions is a type of informing, this helps break this cycle. It definitely helps break the cycle. And informing is a form of communication. So instead of being asked or told what to do, which can, trigger this, don't tell me what to do, or a wall goes up, you know, just like when I was told I had cancer, I had to do, I had to first go through being injected with a radioactive dye to determine which lymph nodes they were going to remove. And that would determine whether I was going to get chemo with my radiation. So I was told I had to do all these things. And what I didn't know is this manifestor heretic comes out and says, oh no, I ain't doing that, because this was a natural tendency. So when communication happens, instead of being asked or told what to do, which can trigger these internal responses or reactions, if you will, we thrive when others simply inform us. That's it. Just tell us, okay, so here's what's happening. Here's what you got to do. You got to do this, then you got to do that, and it's completely up to you. Okay, catch you later. This can really create a space of allowing, because this communication already happened. Now I get to decide what I'm going to do. And I specifically look for events where I can decide what I want to do at those events. And we thrive in these just by simply informing us and then informing others. So, this neutral form of communication, and we want to be neutral about informing. We don't want to inform by saying you should or you shouldn't, or I should or I shouldn't. We want to be neutral about informing. And when we do this, there's no feeling pressured, and then optimally choosing whether or how to act or respond. And then informing others before acting, and just letting others know around you, if you're a manifester, what's going on, because other people around you may be impacted by your actions. Sometimes we don't see it, but manifestors mm, might preemptly address potential resistance, might be proactive about any potential. Hey, just so you guys know, I'm going to be going over here. don't worry about it. I'll be right back, or what have you. Just letting them know this avoids any kind of potential resistance. Talking about you behind your back. Oh, I've got so many stories. But this creates a smoother path. It really does. It makes your days so much easier, less internal stress and more external openness. And this leads to greater peace. This leads to greater peace because we must be the peace we seek because nothing can give us that peace. And if you understand just that, so many magical shifts will happen within you, regardless of your energy type. But if you're a manifester, nothing's going to give you peace. You have to be the peace you seek. And this allows our actions to land on others more effectively, not create that ripple in the field and create that resistance. And this is a catalyst for our impact as a manifester. We have a significant impact on others, even without knowing it, unconsciously. Whether you realize it or not, your energy has an impact on others. And your actions can inspire, motivate, open doors just by saying an idea or a story. I've told stories in one of my presentations with hundreds of people, and 10 years later, I'll run into someone at an event and say, I remember that presentation. That story changed my life, changed my relationship with my daughter. So we just don't know what kind of catalyst we can be with our words and the impact it can hold. And this generators too, because particularly generators, um, they're receptive to our words, and we want to ignite what's in alignment with them. And this creates a magical connection when you're able to really create this wonderful. My husband's a generator and he's just learning more about him and how his energy works really has helped me understand how my energy works with others as well. And so informing amplifies this impact, allowing others to understand, accept, and potentially support your actions. So I want to get clear that informing is not just a polite suggestion. Okay. It's a crucial strategy. It's a practical strategy. So by embracing this and practicing it, experiment with it, you can navigate a world not only designed for your initiating nature, but minimize that resistance and then the anger and become more effective with your purpose. And this ultimately leads to greater peace, and contentment and having more impactful contributions and informing or letting others know what's going on, being a key strategy. It's also a two-way street because manifestors as having a closed, repelling aura. And, I hate saying that, but we do kind of walk in a big giant box. And sometimes this box, the boundaries of this box, might push people out of the way and they might feel offended just by you being there. And this is all happening unconsciously under the surface. But if we understand and experiment with this, we can reduce that resistance or make it completely go away. As I'm a contractor, so I go into corporations and hospitals and school districts as a last resort, right? So they're going to hire me as a contractor. And I go into different situations. And one of the first things I do is I put people at ease. I have to, because otherwise, I've learned over the years, because I've been doing my job for 30 years, I did not always know about my human design during that time. So I learned some things the hard way with my energy. And I learned right away to reduce that ease. And just by informing, hey, I'm here to provide language services. And 99.9% of the time, they're relieved. And for example, I did have a situation recently, actually, where I was providing language services at a hospital, and I was asked to take an empty IV bag from the nurse. And so, I had a couple of choices, right, at that moment. So I responded with, hey, I want to inform you that I'm here to provide language services for the patient. Right away, the situation changed with that one sentence. I didn't have to tell them what to do or anything. She knew right away. She's like, oh, okay. I'm sorry. In my mind, it's just water. I get you. I get you. Okay, no worries. So she pressed the button to have someone come for help. So this right there took many years to figure out, and telling me what to do in that situation could have easily ignited anger, right? Within an unconscious uh, situation. It could have made the space feel icky, right? But instead, I just informed. That's it. And the whole situation changed. It was fixed with no anger or misunderstanding. So, conflicts that could arise from unexpected actions, this reduces the likelihood of negative reactions or pushback from others, allowing the situation to move forward with greater ease and confidence. And communication kept happening between the nurse and the patient, and it ended beautifully. But informing, it is a strategy, particularly important for manifestors in relationships. It allows us to set boundaries and communicate our needs with others. But you know what? This goes across the board to all of the energy types. When you understand this and then begin to apply it in your own life, by informing others, we can avoid that anger and resentment. I remember looking years back when I was just, starting to rise to the top of the linguistic field that I was in. And I could feel, this buildup when I was around colleagues, like at a conference. And then I realized all I had to do was inform them. And that was it. And it made all of these walls go down. And some of these walls were um, judgments, criticisms, jealousies, their own projections. And a lot of times I would see them as I used to be, like, oh, they're blaming me for this. It's my fault. But now I see the projections as their own. So they're showing me what's happening underneath the surface within themselves. So this is where I can, use my hypnosis skills to kind of clear up that reaction and create a response. You're creating a space for more respectful and a fulfilling relationship. And not only does this reduce resistance, informing can also be seen as a form of marketing or sales, right? So, how many of us are in business? It helps spread awareness of your actions and gain allies, begin to network with others with those healthy boundaries. And when we inform others about our plans, it creates a sense of anticipation and it makes people more likely to support your endeavors, right? So letting them know, hey, I got this thing coming up. By the way, I do have this thing coming up, just to let you know. And informing is, I want to be clear about this next part because informing is not, absolutely not, about validation or approval. I'm going to say that again. Listen up, all energy types. Informing is not about seeking validation or approval. It is simply about communicating your intentions in order to minimize that resistance. That's it. So it's important to remember that informing is not the same as seeking permission or approval. So back when we were married about 10 years, we used to have conferences for our language, and it would be in different places around the country. So I used to ask permission of my husband to go, and his knee jerk reaction being a generator and the finances. So he's the finances of our relationship. His first reaction would be no, right? So it's like, okay, so I'm required to get these CEUs to maintain my license. I have to go to this conference to get CEUs. So I had to do convincing or backtracking or getting him to say yes. So I learned over the years. Hi, honey, if you're listening, he knows all about this. But I learned over the years, and this is something I had to step into my energy and be confident in my energy, is I would tell him, give him as much notice as possible because he's a triple split definition. Um, Give him as much time as possible to digest it so he can go through his triple split definition and process the information. Hey, honey, coming up in about 3 months, I'm going to be traveling to this place and I'm going to be getting a room and getting all the CEUs possible for my license in about 3 months. So he'll be like, okay, so we got 3 months to prepare for this. And I'm in my mind I'm already prepared, right? So this is the process we experiment with because relationship is not a one-time written in stone thing. It's a living, breathing negotiation with the energy, right? You're constantly negotiating with this three-dimensional time and space reality. It's important to understand this is a powerful tool for any energy, but especially manifestors, to experiment with navigating this world and create positive change. Because our anger, I know my anger can create quite the ripple in this reality. And it sometimes takes a long time and it's still coming back to me, the consequences, whatever is sent out comes back to you. And if you're in this space, becoming aware of the powerful energy that you have and becoming more intentional with your energy, you begin to design a magnificent reality. And when you're in this space, this is where the magic happens. So, informing is a crucial strategy. And strategies have to be tested, right? If you sell any kind of business, if you're in business, you have to have some kind of marketing strategy. This is no different. You have a strategy and you test and experiment with it and let people know what you're up to. I work in an environment where sometimes it's very difficult to go into the environment because the staff there are under tremendous stress, and sometimes there are reactions that happen. So I, as a manifester, informing to me can be before I go into that environment, I make sure my energy is set. So you want to intentionally set your own energy. And how I do that is ask how questions. How can today be amazing? How can communication happen so beautifully and brilliantly? So with these type of questions, this sets my energy. And then when I go into a toxic energy, if you will, I love all of the places I have contracts with, but it's really important to set your mindset before you go into an environment. Otherwise, that environment is going to set your mindset. So this is very important because sometimes informing is just an internal response. How can today be amazing? How can I see more dragonflies today? How can I make someone smile today? How can I make someone's day better? This is more of an internal informing, and then your energy, which scientifically we have mirror neurons. You activate these mirror neurons, and rather than having a repelling aura, you have a magnetizing aura. You begin to shift your own reality. And this is crucial. This is crucial in understanding and experimenting with this, because just having this internal intention of informing the space, as Ra calls this space of variations, the matrix, if you will, as we're moving through this time and space. And we understand that this informing can also be a two-way connection. So this is an important part because it's very important with informing and manifestors in your relationships. Now, I have a 40-year wonderful relationship with an amazing generator, and I can attest to this, becoming mindful of informing. And through the years, our relationship has solidified. So, through effective communication, understanding how our body is at the moment, we reduce resistance and gain support while maintaining your own autonomy and their own autonomy over our own decisions. So, manifestors, in the Manifestor Manifesto, if you haven't read it yet, it does offer information about how manifestors, this strategy of informing, differs from the way other energy types often interact with manifestors. So, other energy types, listen up, especially if you have a manifestor in your life. Other energy types, they tend to want to direct the manifestors by asking them or telling them what to do rather than informing them. It's really important that this dynamic of telling people what to do. I mean, generators, many of them, I'm told, and I see it, and just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do. However, this is conditioning. So generators will tell generators what to do, and they'll have a manifestor and they'll tell the manifestor what to do, not knowing. I mean, it's completely unconscious a lot of times. But this explains this dynamic and the result of conditioning rather than, it's not really malicious intent at all. It's conditioning. And when we look at from this perspective, compassion naturally opens up. And other energy types are, accustomed to, I mean, generators make up most of the population, right? So we're accustomed to working with generators. And this could be unintentional habit forming. But the majority of the population are inherently designed to respond to requests. So just tell me what to do, and I'm going to go do it. But because of the manifestor energy type, it's important to become aware. Don't assume. And maybe we can redirect our own thoughts, because we're kind of living in an age where it's really important not to tell others what to do, but direct. And we can be directed with choices rather than being told what to do. And informing a manifestor as opposed to asking or telling them to do something allows us to use our energy correctly according to our inner authority. And again, my inner authority is emotional. And I think there are three inner authorities. There's the emotional, there's the splenic, and I do believe there's the egoic. And informing a manifestor also helps other types feel more comfortable around us. Just let you know, hey, just to let you know, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be on the computer. Just tap on my shoulder if you need to talk to me. So I'm not ignoring you. Those kind of simple things. Hey, I'm just informing you of this. so that they can feel at ease and comfortable. Okay, she's just doing that and not feel threatened, because I've been told, even like, I think my earliest memory of me being told by an adult that I'm intimidating was at 11 years old because I was very confident in what I was doing around certain things. And an adult said, you're intimidating. I didn't know what that word meant. And then throughout life, I'm told again, you're intimidating. And I learned that I'm not the one who's intimidating. However, if somebody is telling me that I'm intimidating, perhaps I didn't inform well enough. So that's a gift for me. But it used to piss me off. It's like, I'm not freaking being intimidating. You're intimidated, right? So it's like, whoa, back off. There's a message here. So there's something that I can do because it's my energy and I can be intentional with it. Once I'm intentional with it, magic happens. So, with that said, I want to invite you to let me know in the comments what you think about this, your experiences. If you have any stories you wanted to share, definitely share those. And I want to know what you loved, and I want to know what you would love more of. And in the meantime, keep being amazing.